And as part of our tech horror series, we are covering actually 2 episodes of Black Mirror. And this is the first one we're doing, which is their episode Common People, which was the first episode of the recent season.
Yeah. And ow. What a... I don't know about you. I was crying.
Yeah.
It was sad. I think I agree. They did a lot with the episode, and it was so real and painful. So I'll get into healthcare capitalism, which is our reality very much right now. At the time of recording this, we're also like just following the big, beautiful bill passing. So I'm going to be talking a bit about that too, just because it's a little bleak right now. And we're hoping that in the coming weeks, there'll be like more like, this is what you can do to fight back, that we can add in, or like pathways to resources so that people don't lose their healthcare, stuff like that. But when we were doing a lot of searching, unfortunately, it was mostly just like, this is terrible. And we're like, yes, we know. How fight, how fix? And it was a struggle to find much. So if you, as Gabe mentioned, like if you have any recommendations, we would definitely appreciate it so that we can kind of use our blog as a resource share. And if not, I mean, it's what it is. We'll look ourselves as well. So, but in our Fall of the House of Usher episode, we talked about predatory, greedy nature of our healthcare capitalism that we live under. With how society and our economy is set up, these companies are incentivized to put profits above people. And in Black Mirror's Common People, we see the same horror fictionalized, and I'll say barely, because it was very close to reality. And really close to home for me personally. Like, I don't know if anyone else was sobbing at the end or if that was just me, but like it was, I guess people have like reflected that this episode was just really rough. So I'm sure a lot of people empathize with the characters, but I was just like, wow, I'm ruined for like a week. I don't know if I've just been a baby lately or what, but like it was a rough episode. So prepare yourself mentally before going in, because it definitely hurts. And when we commodify healthcare, we make life-saving medication inaccessible. The subscription-based model in Common People echoes real-world healthcare, thinking insulin, inhalers, cancer treatment, overpriced accessibility equipment. These are not optional services. For chronically ill, critically ill, and disabled people, they are essential. And yet they are priced as luxuries. So to be so honest, and also like to talk about my personal experience, I sometimes will just let myself wheeze because inhalers are overpriced and I have to ration. And that's like not a unique experience. Like it's like poverty logic where you're like, what can I pay to avoid this? Or like, what can wait versus not?
Yeah. How much can I suffer before I have to shell out some money?
Exactly. Because this is like when you look at the cost, it's just not achievable. And we also see the subscription model in our insurance premiums. Some plans are better than others, and many are unaffordable for most. So you have like the crappy insurance that's like still a lot of money, but gives you like basically no coverage. Your premiums are still really high. Some things are like, you're very limited in the subscriptions you can get. If you're actually dealing with heavy medical expenses and like illnesses and you need a lot of testing, you'll get denials. The adjuster did not appear from nothing. We have situations that require and are resulting because of these really exploitative companies that are harming people. And as someone who is currently uninsured because I literally can't afford it and who lives with a chronic illness, I'm a little biased against the insurance companies, to be honest.
It's
in many ways. I'm living pieces of what this episode depicts. Obviously not to the same extent, but like pieces of it. And when you're uninsured, but you really need consistent healthcare, there are some workarounds, like something that was circulating a lot on like Instagram and TikTok was the direct primary care model, which is basically you're paying a primary care physician for like a subscription essentially, so that you can have access to consistent healthcare but without insurance. So like I pay a fixed monthly fee of $50 to access for basic care, but it's not perfect by any means. I don't think I'd recommend it at this stage because as it doesn't cover like testing, imaging, or emergencies. A blood workup and testing can run about like $400 for like a test. Like one test.
Yeah.
And when you have to get multiple tests done, it becomes impossible to afford. I can get prescriptions for my inhalers, which is great. But if anything serious happens, I'm basically out of luck. So hopefully when Penny opens up their enrollment period from November to January, I'll be able to hop on in there and get some health insurance.
No.
But it's yeah. And unfortunately, I'm not alone, as there are millions of people who are uninsured, as well as millions who will be joining the pool of uninsured people after the passage of this budget bill. It does drastic cuts to Medicaid and Medicaid. Like, it just really guts that system, and also makes all these new requirements that will make it so millions no longer qualify. So what is refreshing about Common People, which Gabe touched on, is that, like, the villain isn't only tech, like, it's very much the humans who are exploiting it. And Rivermind has created a life-saving device which turns a revolutionary treatment into a money pit. As highlighted in the article, The Real Horror of Black Mirror's Common People is Disability Under Capitalism, Amanda's story hits close to home. Her life is sustained through a paid subscription. Her body becomes property, as Gabe was saying. Her life force becomes currency. And survival is the subscription. You have to pay to live. And this is the reality of a lot of disabled Americans, or Americans with disabilities, who have to constantly battle against insurance companies and care providers to receive basic services. This isn't the only horror story of Common People. Amanda is a teacher and Mike works in construction. They are both essential jobs, yet neither offers livable wages. And that's before they even have a child.
Yeah.
This is not just a medical horror, it's a societal failure. And their financial hardships impact every facet of their lives. How far they can travel is already impacted by this. They can't afford to go that far. How much time they can spend with each other, and their day-to-day health and quality of life. So when you aren't in an upper financial bracket, essentially, your quality of life is going to decrease. Immediately, because of how much you're going to have to work, about how much you're going to, like, have to basically play the poverty game, where it's like, can I afford this or forego this? And it's like, most of these things are needs. It's not just like you want to get yourself a coffee. It's like, should I pay my medical bills, or should I, like, get this medicine, or should I even go see a doctor? I've been having headaches. Do I need to go there? Nah, it costs too much, so no. And then your headaches compound until you have to go to a hospital, and then it becomes a whole other problem. So
yeah, like, you're making all those sacrifices every day, right? It's like you want 3 things, you have to compromise, and you get 2.
Yeah,
tops.
And it has nothing to do, like, with their effort at all. Like, they're working their asses off, like, literally. And it's like, not that that's what necessitates care, or, like, makes you, like, feel sorry for the situation. Like, their lives matter regardless, but it's not like they're not trying, and that's, like, it makes it frustrating to, like, watch, because you're like, oh, I know people who have, like, lived this experience, and before they were given a literal barrier, they have lived pretty isolated lives because of their poverty. And Amanda's health issues isolate her even more. This is a reflection of the fact that many Americans with disabilities and chronic illnesses similarly are forced into isolation because of denial to care. Our world is not accessible enough. To access many places, you need accessibility equipment, which is often not covered, or you have to, like, argue for it extensively. This greatly limits mobility outside of the home for many people with disabilities, and for no good reason. It's not like there's no argument that they don't need it.
Right.
It's just that there's greed and they don't want to cover it. And there's also been, like, a long history of just trying to hide people with, like, differences, and forcing them to stay inside by, like, making the world outside not accessible to receiving those humans. And it's silly, because accessibility has been proven to help literally everyone. Ramps don't just help wheelchair users. They also support the elderly, stroller access for infants and toddlers, as well as just better on your knees and joints. It's also a more efficient and effective way to get up something.
Yeah.
There are so many accessibility features that many people take for granted that were hard fought for and pioneered by people with disabilities. So how we see Amanda forced to stay home and within her county, many people with disabilities are forced into the same restrictions.
And I will say disability is, like, one of the most accessible things for people. Because if you live long, which if you have the, like, if you get that role of life where you get to live long, you will be a differently abled person, period.
Yeah. at
And
some
now
point
you
in your
don't
life.
have health insurance.
Mm-hmm. So with that vein in mind, the truth of the matter is that the majority of Americans are one big health scare away from financial ruin. We don't have savings. We don't, like, our environment is killing us slowly. We are stressed, overworked, and undervalued. Recently, a bill was signed, as we mentioned at the beginning, that will remove millions from their healthcare benefits. And the myth that people without insurance are simply irresponsible is propaganda. Many of us earn too much for Medicaid, but not enough to afford coverage. And when the uninsured population increases, we all suffer. Hospitals are forced to cover the gap through closure or cost shifting, which means premiums for insured individuals will rise because the hospitals have to compensate for the funding that they have to expend to cover people without insurance. Because it was like a $38 billion a year thing in the current landscape. It's only going to get worse. So, according to the American Hospital Association, in an article titled Fact Sheet, One Big Beautiful Bill Act would significantly reduce availability of coverage in the health insurance marketplaces. Has shown that this pattern leads to higher premiums, reduced quality of care, and more medical bankruptcies. And despite paying more, the U.S. has some of the worst health outcomes globally. In a recent report titled U.S. spends the most on healthcare, but outcomes are among the worst, they state that despite paying the most for healthcare, Americans have some of the worst health outcomes. Researchers found that the U.S. has the lowest life expectancy of the 10 countries that they studied, which was like New Zealand, Australia, Switzerland, and like other countries. And we lead in preventable and treatable deaths, things that could have been prevented.
We're number one.
Go. And specifically listing these are preventable and treatable deaths, and even with insurance, because the prices are so high that even with insurance, it's cost prohibitive. And Americans face massive financial burdens. And the kicker is that publicly funded healthcare systems, like those in Australia, Switzerland, and New Zealand, consistently outperform ours for a fraction of the cost. There's like
that's a socialism, can't have that.
Yeah. Ugh, makes me want to move to New York. But subscription services for essential goods is another big issue. Like, we have things that are essential, like as Gabe was saying, like subscriptions for prescriptions. You have to pay for your medication. You can Klarna, basically, or an equivalent service, basically anything. You have groceries, medical expenses, arguably essential human needs. You can Klarna that. So you split it up into smaller payments. It's basically what we did to cable, but to our daily life. You can make something that was like $600, $50 a month, and it's more manageable. Or if even like going like lower than that, like you have a bunch of $14 a month things that stack. So you say yes, and then you have this like debt loop that stacks into a really unsustainable, a bit like you can't pay for that long term. It ends up being like really cost prohibitive, and then you're in this debt loop, and you have interest too. So like if you think of like sometimes you need something more urgently, some people immediately, just because if their credit's not good enough, you get interest right away. Or if you need it like urgently and you want to make your payments smaller, you're more likely to accept interest. So you're trying to buy groceries for your family, and now you're in like debt. It's just like and there's a positive to it in one small, minute area, and that's like now people who could not afford that or like had to wait for a paycheck to hit can access groceries. That's great, but it comes at a cost in terms of like, as you said, the interest rates, but also just like the stacking of this. So it ends up being more kind of like what we see with like everyone has a subscription service. We used to just pay $70 a month for cable, and now we have like hundreds of dollars worth of subscription services for less value, essentially. So it's just very inherently exploitative. Like even if like sometimes it ends up being good, it harms a lot more than it does good. And so I think while it is a balance, it definitely just is a challenge that I think people are going to have be exploited to harm people, essentially. And also it's like, other subscription services that we see unfold in Common People is very similar to how our healthcare premiums work. Or if we think, Gabe was talking about like Netflix, you know, the subscription model is basically gets you hooked on the service. And then you have to keep going. And I have ads Netflix, and it didn't used to be ads Netflix. You would be able to have all of the services, and it was great. And you had no ads, and it was lovely. You could watch all the movies you wanted. Now they have like premium sites where you can't even access some of the content because it's behind the premium services. So like they say they have all these movies, and then you go to click in, and it's like, that's actually just for premium.
Yes.
Peasant. You can't have that,
God.
actually. And I'm watching ads for all my shows. So it's just like, it sucks.
Yeah, it's like vaccine. But that just happened to me for a beloved audiobook app where I was like, you know, I pay for the app already. I subscribe. And then I was like, ooh, a book I really wanted to read. I click on it and like, you can't touch that, actually. It's right there. I know which one you're talking about.
It made me mad because I also had a similar thing. Them.
Those are for premium. And I wrote a bad review on the App Store. I've never done that because I was so peeved. And they were like, sorry, we have to make money. And I was like, no, screw you. I'm already paying you.
Like, and the issue is that companies, because they have investors, is like, that they have to keep profiting. And it's like, to keep profiting, you have to exploit people. Like Bo Burnham was talking about it once I saw like on TV, and he was like saying that they just want to monopolize every second of our lives. It's like the subscriptions are like, they will never be satisfied.
Right.
It will never just do the service, call it a day. They need to keep profiting. And the only way to keep doing that is to literally invade our heads and take every second of our life. Because now time is money. Now, so like,
and the subscription models don't work. Like they're actually like not a good financial decision for an organization. Like because like you said, you have to keep trying to get more and more, and what you're giving is not a lot. And so you're just like almost chasing that high every single time because your investor is going to ask for more and more, and then you have to up the prices, and then people leave.
It's gross.
So
yeah, and Gabe, thank you, put a quote in here from the episode that fits so perfectly, where they say, honestly, it's less than you think, because we're really just trying to drive uptake, so our pricing is really reasonable, and the surgery is free. And then once you're in, you literally have it in your brain. Yeah. What are you going to do?
Yeah. It's keeping you alive. It's keeping her alive.
And you're going to be like, no?
It's literally pay us or die. And I mean, that's like literally what it is now with subscriptions or prescriptions.
I used to want a robot body, but like in this hellscape now, if we embrace socialism, maybe.
Yeah.
But until that day.
But it ends up being repo and they're going to take your leg, you know?
No. I don't trust the people that be to create something that won't poison me and kill me. Like.
Yeah. Or use you.
Yeah. Like I just. Sometimes you just gotta wheeze. It's where I'm in my current stage of life. That's what it is. But after that, they take the tiers and the services that were once available to all subscribers are now tiered behind a paywall. So the last thing I'll talk about is how like GoFundMe specifically as emergency care has been like manipulated. Thinking of like Mike's experience where it's just like things that should not have to be funded are funded, and it's like, look at this heartwarming story, and it's like, no,
trauma porn.
Yeah, it's gross. Like, so for example, GoFundMe specifically mimics what we see take place in Common People for Mike, and we have seen GoFundMe and other crowdfunding sources attempt to cover the gaps in insurance funding as well as access to care. So when emergency care becomes inaccessible and overpriced, what we see play out in Common People is one of the only options Mike had available. It was like basically the OnlyFans version of GoFundMe.
Yeah.
But with like
abuse.
Meaner. Yeah, abuse. And this is a case for many people who have to sell a story of human pain in order to encourage people to donate to their campaign to save themselves or the people that they love. In an article titled GoFundMe Has Become a Healthcare Utility, they unpack how in recent years GoFundMe has become a crucial platform for individuals seeking financial assistance to cover medical costs, particularly as healthcare expenses in the United States continue to rise. The article goes through many personal stories of personal medical hardship, like that of Andrea McCoy, who turned to GoFundMe after her son faced a nearly $65,000 air ambulance bill, with her insurance covering only a portion of the cost. What was she supposed to do in that situation? Not save her son?
Yeah.
Tell them, don't air vac him out. What?
He's not that important. Yeah, this is literally
Absolutely
our cyberpunk
not.
episode.
Yeah, like, and of course you're gonna say us. I was like, even I recently read like the Trevor Noah book and he was talking about his mom, and like the doctor was like, do you want us to save her? Like literally asked him, did you want them to save her? And he was like, of course, what are you talking about? And she kept insisting he think about it, because she'd seen so many people basically ruin themselves financially to save somebody's life, and like never fiscally recover from it. And it was like sad as heck. So it's like a very real reality, even for people like we see on TV.
Yeah.
And despite the platform's popularity, a 2017 study from the University of Washington found that most medical expense campaigns fall short of their funding goals, averaging at about 40% of the target amount. And these companies specifically profit off of these campaigns, taking a percentage of the proceeds raised. It's like 0.3, but that's still like, if you're raising a lot of money, they're taking a cut of that money. And situations like this don't have to exist and shouldn't. These are heartfelt stories. These are not heartfelt stories to be celebrated, but rather a reflection of a deeply flawed system that forces us to choose between perpetual debt and our own lives and the people of the lives that we love. So it's gross. But we are going to put some resources in our blog, specifically both for caretakers, healthcare access, resources just to like how to deal with the coming months that are going to be really insane. There's also been, I mean, Donald Trump says he's going to do a lot of things, but he's also recently talked about charging a 200% tariff on subscriptions, or like prescriptions specifically, that will make them entirely unaffordable. So hopefully that doesn't actually happen, but like it's lots of things that are being proposed by the current government and those in charge is going to harm a lot of people. So hopefully as we get through the next few weeks, we'll have more resources that pop up and tell us like next steps for people, so that there are steps that people can take to protect themselves and each other. So
yeah,
if you know of any, let us know. And we'll keep looking ourselves. And
no, it's you know, I think about when this was made and when it came out, and it was, you know, really before something like this could be imagined. Like it was already just remarking on the current state of our healthcare and our subscription services. And like I said, it covers so many like notes, right, of things that we're, so many horrors that we experience. And I even think about like with the GoFundMe, and like that's people supporting other people, right? That's like your community. But it's like, think about all the people who, especially for the big bullshit bill here, were like, I'm tired of paying for other people's stuff. It's like, first of all, we live in a society. Okay.
Yeah, you're going to.
You have to do that. That's what taxes are. Yeah. Right? We pay for us as a people. Right? And absolutely, you can take all you want for me to support others. Like, not like, I don't know why that's a hard thing for people to swallow. But this is like literally that. It's like, I would much rather you take it out of my paycheck, and I know that people are being taken care of and there's free healthcare for all, than have to go to these individual GoFundMes and pay them there.
Or even like private insurance. It's cheaper. It's cheaper to have publicly funded medical care than trusting these private businesses who are corrupt to do this. and then like, honestly, like you're just trading one corrupt system for another corrupt system. And then, but like one of them is affordable and helps more people. Let people be helped. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's such a weird argument, and I really don't understand it. And like, even like the amount of like Trump supporters who like after the fact were like, what happened to my medical insurance? Like they don't understand. Yeah,
they don't know
that like Obamacare was that. And it's like, you needed that to live and now you don't have it. Yeah. You did this to yourself. Like,
so many people who are going to, who were like, oh, I don't have Medicare. I have Cali Care or something, you know?
It's the same thing.
Just called something different. And that's just how uneducated they are. I literally just recently, someone told me that a friend of theirs will travel to Bermuda to do like dental surgery. Like it's cheaper to take a flight to another country.
Yeah.
Get it done by their dentists.
Medical tourism is huge industry right now. Yeah. Going to like Turkey and like other places, like just to get a bunch of health procedures done because it's so inaccessible here. It's cheaper
it's like,
to go abroad.
I wish they were embarrassed. That's the thing. Like, I wish more Americans were embarrassed, right? Like when Trump was talking about shithole countries, I was like, that's what we are. You're making us that. Like, you are turning us into a developing country. Because we are so far behind any of the other quote unquote developed countries, right? In so many ways. It's insane. It's so backwards. But yeah, I think like common people in such a like short, concise story is able to hit on so many of our fears in a really brilliant way. So I think like it has really revitalized my appreciation for something like Black Mirror. But it is also like, this is why I really was pushing to cover it for the tech section, because I was like, this is happening. This doesn't feel like tomorrow. It feels like today, much like Companion did as well. Like it's happening around us. And so do let us know what you think. One, about this episode. Let us know about some of the takeaways you've had while watching it. If you do have resources, right, as a caregiver, as someone who has found a workaround for healthcare and supporting each other and thriving, not just living, like, right, I manifest as thriving. And just to give us some hope, because I do think we're right now in just the shock, right? The shock doctrine of it all. Where I do think people keep holding on to some amount of humanity where we think maybe not this one, you know, maybe they'll come, you know, every time we just hold on.
Open.
And that's not we're proven wrong, which to me, it's like, I would much rather us keep hoping and maybe one day be true, right? Than to get jaded in it. But I do think that because we're in that moment of shock and just like depression, right? That it is hard to be like, okay, now what are we going to do? Right? Because we're just like still reeling, you know, we are still hurting from that, because it is a lot of people are going to get even more sick and a lot of people are going to die. That is just the truth of the reality that we're living in because of the administration that is in power right now. So please share your resources, share some hopeful thoughts. What is your favorite Black Mirror episode too? Let us know if you want us to cover more Black Mirror episodes. And if there's one you're like, you really got to do this one. I will say there's a few of them where I'd be like, no. I'd flat out be like, I'm not doing that one.
Fair enough.
Nope. But I'm allowed to do that because I'm a media creator. So make your own show. No, but
hopefully we get ones that we would like to cover.
I'll be like, yes, oh my god, you know. But yes, like and subscribe, and don't get married.
Delete your kids.
Yeah, if they let you have kids, it's an extra fee. Bro. And that we didn't even talk about that. Like she didn't first of all, they're going to charge her more for being pregnant. But it's like, for all the fees and costs, like I'm like have to think now, even like, how do I adjust? Like I have to put in my like, there's like a whole fund that you could be taking extra money out of your paycheck to go towards your health insurance as like fees for when you have those medical expenses, right? Like, how do I figure out how to do those extra things if I'm building a family? Like sometimes you can't even put your kid on your plan. Like it's brand new, it's out, and they're like, that's a whole different person. So we're going to charge you for having another person in this room.
They charge you separately. They charge you for your stay and then your baby's stay.
Your baby, this infant
it's
that
so
can't
dystopian.
be anywhere else. Right. They charge you for giving birth. That's crazy. It's crazy. Other countries are like, why aren't you embarrassed?
Yeah.
That's embarrassing.
Other countries are like, please give birth. Here's money for doing so.
Yeah, ew.
We'll pay for all your expenses.
And they're like, we'll give you $500. Does that cost enough?
Like, you can get a trophy.
A trophy
that
for
says
7
you did great
kids.
in pro.
Minimum. No.
I hate it.
Oh my
It's so
God.
dystopian.
Ewy.
No, you're
Ewy.
stressed. Oh.
Anyway, bye.
Bye.